If you had a ring that could make you disappear, what are you going to do? Would you steal or even kill? This is what Gyges did. After obtaining the ring, he entered the palace unseen, seduced the queen, and convinced her to divorce her husband. Once a humble shepherd, he killed the ruler and claimed the kingdom. The Ring of Gyges is a story written by Plato in his book Republic, questioning whether a rational person would act recklessly without facing negative consequences. Does absolute power corrupt? Here, it questions whether the ability to kill, steal, rape, and do whatever one wishes would lead to self-destruction. Certainly, absolute power corrupts absolutely, but not for Marcus Aurelius.
He can have all the money in the world. He can have sex with anyone he wants, whenever he wants, under any circumstances. He can go on a drunk now and stay drunk for the next 19 years until he dies. Compared to Marcus Aurelius, we have tiny little temptations. We're tempted to steal a little thing. We're tempted to cheat on our income taxes, tempted to cheat on our spouses. Marcus Aurelius has that sort of temptation magnified 1,000-fold, and he consistently does good stuff.
In the Discourses on Livy, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote that only 5 Roman emperors were considered good, with goodness defined by how well they handled power, and Marcus Aurelius was one of them. We will discuss the mindset of the philosopher king, Marcus Aurelius. In 165 AD, a wave of death swept from the east, spreading quickly across the world. This was called the Antonine Plague, named after the Roman emperor of the time, Caesar Marcus Aurelius Antonius Augustus. This plague lasted throughout his reign and was estimated to have claimed 18 million lives, nearly destroying the Roman Empire. Rome was nearly destroyed by this terrible plague, but because it was under Marcus Aurelius's rule, the empire endured and even thrived, despite ongoing economic crises, invasions, and pandemics. Marcus surrounded himself with talented people, not just aristocrats and nobles. He listened to those around him to help him make decisions. He recruited the best doctors to lead the battle against the disease afflicting the Roman population, allowing him to focus on the growing economic crisis. He paid off debts, sold imperial and personal belongings, and seized funds from the Roman upper class to keep the economy running. In times of fear across the empire, Marcus practiced self-control and inspired his people to remain calm. Facing the dreadful challenges that plagued Rome and himself, Marcus Aurelius held steadfast to Stoic principles. Unlike usual, she remained disciplined and steadfast. Marcus Aurelius held steadfast to Stoic principles. He is known as one of the greatest teachers of this philosophy alongside Epictetus and Seneca. Stoicism is marked by the rejection of pleasure as the standard of human happiness. Stoicism asserts that a good and wise person lives according to nature, unafraid of poverty or death, unaffected by irrational fears. Stoics only fear disappointing themselves and failing to become complete human beings. A Stoic only considers and cares about what they can control and ignores what they cannot control, be it a sinking ship, bad weather, or others' opinions. They focus solely on what they can control, how they react, how they act next, and nothing else. They focus on their souls. A Stoic understands that greatness comes from inner wisdom, not from external things like wealth, sexual gratification, or even life itself. A Stoic is wise, training their mind and spirit not to be a slave to passions. A Stoic can control their emotions, and Marcus Aurelius was a Stoic. And that answers everything. He was the most powerful man in the world in his time, the absolute ruler of the Roman Empire, covering nearly the entire known world. He held power over life and death for all people everywhere. His word was law. He could have anything he wanted, could be with any woman, and all wealth was his. But he's not corrupt. If you had an invisibility ring that could make you disappear, his situation was the same. Imagine being in Marcus's position, able to do anything without any consequences. What are you going to do? Even small things can corrupt us. We are often tempted to steal minor things, feel the urge to deceive if it benefits us. Many spend their lives fulfilling their primal desires as humans. But not Marcus Aurelius. He could be considered the only one who reached Plato's standard of the philosopher king. He is the philosopher king himself. Marcus Aurelius ascended to the throne in 161 AD and died in 180 AD. For 19 years and controlled the entire world. He could be called the best of the Romans, the noblest among them. A preacher is one who does his duty well. He wrote a book called Meditations. This was not written to teach others or to be studied later. He wrote it for himself. No, he wrote it for himself. He wrote it as a journal, to communicate what was on his mind. He wrote down various principles needed to maintain a calm and strong mind, which ultimately helped him become wiser and lead a more fulfilled and happy life. These are some of the points written by the most powerful man of his time. First, respect yourself. With every action you take, ask yourself if you respect yourself with that action or if you will regret it later. When emotions take over, remember that it's useless to give in to them. Politeness and kindness define humanity. Those who possess these qualities have strength and courage. Make yourself no tyrant or slave to anyone. Marcus also said we should value our own opinion more than others, but still be open to correction. Marcus wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me, we all love ourselves more than other people, but care about their opinions more than our own. But still be open to correction." Marcus writes, "Remember that to change your mind and to accept correction are free acts too. The action is yours, based on your own will, your own decision, and your own mind. We must be honest, straightforward, not seeking to create an image that isn't true to ourselves. We should avoid rhetoric, salesmanship, or flattery." Secondly, it all depends on how you interpret it. Marcus reminded himself not to let his actions be driven by external things beyond his control. If something bad happens, it's up to us whether we get angry or not. Marcus writes, "How easy it is to repel and to wipe away every impression which is troublesome or unsuitable, and immediately to be in all tranquility. If people do bad things, don't let it weigh on your mind. Instead, respond with kindness." Not many people can withstand consistent kindness, and they usually change. Marcus wrote, "No matter what anyone says or does, my task is to be good." Or, if you trust the wrong person, failing to realize that evil exists and expecting otherwise is foolish. And the best reward when we get hit by this, according to Marcus, is the noblest reply is not to be like your enemy. If something bad happens to you and hurts you in the process, the thing to do is to take advantage of the incident. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes. The obstacle to our acting, the impediment to action, advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus believed that adversity makes us stronger. It's unfortunate this happened. No, it's fortunate this happened, and I wasn't hurt by it. Every sadness should be met with this principle. Nothing is unfortunate, nothing is bad luck, because there is always something to learn from it, and we grow stronger because of it. Face it with courage. Third, control your thinking. Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to take control of our thoughts and positively frame everything. Because the mind is what makes up one's soul. Marcus wrote, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions. We have bodies and minds, and our rational faculty elevates us above other animals, allowing us to follow nature by understanding and using what nature has given us. Deep down, we know what we should do, but we often don't do it because we haven't controlled our minds. When we want to do something and don't, our bodies find reasons not to." Marcus wrote, "Don't let pain, drowsiness, fever, loss of appetite change your mind. When you are bothered by such things, remind yourself, 'Now I give in to pain.' And when you give in to these sensations, you make your mind a slave, and let your body take the lead, leading to unhappiness. Endless suffering comes from not allowing our minds to do their job. Only by controlling our minds can we act virtuously, and only by acting virtuously can we achieve true happiness. Fourth, do your job. Marcus Aurelius said never to let external factors keep you from doing your duty as a human. Whatever happens, whether it's within or beyond your control, do your duty, because only then can you reach true happiness and avoid complaints, both to others and yourself. He wrote, "Don't be overheard complaining, even to yourself. Do your duty without complaining." He wrote that we shouldn't act without a clear purpose. Critically observe your mind as if watching someone else, and ask yourself questions. Where is your mind and soul focused? By acting like a child, a tyrant, and an animal? What made you behave this way? He also said to keep improving on what you can do. If you're looking for peace, do things a little better. Do everything as if it were the last thing you could do in life, and stop letting emotions override your mind. Remove the sense of imagination. Stop slacking off like a puppet. Limit yourself to the present. Marcus wrote, "You are sadly mistaken if you think that a precious man cares quietly about death, and does not concentrate on whether what he is doing is right or wrong, and whether his behavior is that of a good person or a bad one." The fifth, do not fear death. Life is short, and death comes for us all. There is nothing to fear in death, because it's part of nature and the essence of all life. Although Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man of his time, he often thought about his own death, but he wasn't afraid. He reflected on death to evaluate his life, whether he has been behaving well or not. Marcus said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." He explained that there is nothing to fear from death, but the fact that we're bound to die means we have to live life as it should be lived. We should be able to use the time we have as well as possible, doing good things to achieve true happiness. He wrote, "Determine and pursue justice, virtue, courage, self-control, and rational action from anything. We should not delay doing good, as we never know when death will come. You suffer because you choose to be good tomorrow instead of today." Marcus also said, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." Marcus Aurelius faced both challenges and prosperity while ruling the Roman Empire. He was hit by criticism and praise, loved and hated, but through it all, he stood firm, reminding himself of Stoic teachings. If we can learn from Marcus Aurelius how to control our minds, not letting external factors influence us, doing our duty to be good and live according to nature, and facing life without fear of death, then we can live happily, with virtue like Marcus Aurelius. And finally,
waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one.